Hi, it's Chris here, and in this video I'm going through the best fantasy board games out there today. I've narrowed this list down to my absolute favorite 5, so no matter what you're looking for, there'll definitely be something on this list for you. So before we jump in, drop a like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be updated with new videos. Alright, as usual, I'm going to skip all the fluff and just jump right in, but if you want to confirm my recommendations, go in the description and check out that list to ensure you get the best price. Alright, so the first one on the list is going to go to my recommendation for people who think a casual night in means 4 hours of tactical warfare and a minor identity crisis. Or my personal favorites, that's Gloom Haven. So really the board game equivalent of a 12-course meal followed by a full-body massage and a tax refund. If you've ever wondered what it'd be like to live in a town that's halfway between Mordor and a dodgy Weatherspoon's toilet, this is your jam. You and your mates play as mercenaries with severe boundary issues, hacking your way through dungeons, solving morally questionable problems, and trying, of course, not to die. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but with fewer arguments about whose turn it is and more cardboard. Key features: legacy-style gameplay. Every decision you make has consequences. Yes, even that one. The game evolves, mutates, and remembers your mistakes like a passive-aggressive ex. Deep strategy, simple mechanics. It's accessible enough for your hungover mate Steve, but strategic enough that you can ruin a friendship over it. Character progression. Your characters level up, retire, and get replaced, like the cast of EastEnders, except here it actually makes sense. Cohesive, non-cheesy story. The plot unfolds across campaigns and missions, but don't worry, it does not read like bad fanfiction. Combat that actually slaps. The battles are a delicious mix of tactics, movement, and hoping to God your mate doesn't screw up again. Massive replay value as well with this. You can sink hundreds of hours into this box and still feel like you've barely scratched the itch. It's like crack for nerds. So who's it for? Well, this one's for the tabletop masochists who love spreadsheets, story arcs, and smashing skeletons. If you enjoy long, intimate gaming sessions where your moral compass is constantly being recalibrated, this is your glorious, chaotic soulmate. The next one is my recommendation for the best for literature majors who secretly want to be elves instead of unemployed. This is Legacy of Dragonholt. So if Gloom Haven is the fantasy equivalent of a high-stakes pub brawl, this is like sipping tea with Gandalf while journaling about your feelings. It's a story-driven fantasy adventure without the fuss of 800 pieces in a rulebook the size of War and Peace. Perfect for those who love a good narrative without needing to mentally calculate line of sight or manage an Excel sheet mid-battle. This one's less stab the goblin and more talk to the goblin about his childhood trauma. Key features: pure narrative immersion. It's basically a choose-your-own-adventure novel on steroids. You'll read, decide, and regret in that order. Streamlined legacy format, no cardboard trees or fiddly tokens, just character sheets, storybooks, and enough intrigue to make Sherlock Holmes put his pipe down. And decision-based progression, choices actually matter. Ignore a quest, that person dies. Help someone, that person also might die. It's very medieval. Time-based consequences, dilly-dally too long, and that hostage gets fed to Wyvern. This game moves. And co-op storytelling for up to 6 players, like a group therapy session, but in a tavern. Everyone has a say, and everyone's slightly wrong. And zero setup fuss though. No sorting monster decks or shuffling your will to live, just pick up the book and go. So who's it for? Well, this one's tailor-made for the closet writers, lore goblins, and D&D fans who love the drama but hate the dice. If you're after a fantasy world where your tongue is mightier than the sword, or where your biggest enemy is bad decisions, this is going to be your next great escape. The next one is my recommendation for the best for adrenaline junkies who think strategy means setting everything on fire and hoping for the best, and it's Zombicide Black Plague. So this is what happens when a Renaissance fair and a zombie apocalypse have an unholy baby. It's fast, frantic, and full of medieval mayhem. Basically what your nan would have called Tuesday back in the 1400s. In this version, you and your brave, often questionably equipped band of survivors are legging it from hordes of undead, casting spells, swinging swords, and, if you're like me, accidentally blowing up the team rogue with a fireball because he looked suspicious. Key features: non-stop undead action, the zombies just keep coming. It's like that one clingy ex who doesn't take a hint, except these ones want to eat your brain, not text you at 2 a.m. Medieval setting with spells and steel. Swap machine guns for maces, crossbows, and literal wizardry. Yes, Karen, magic is a valid strategy. And app integration for smooth gameplay. No need to fumble through 400 cards like you're doing witchcraft at a bus stop. The app handles it. You just handle survival. And simple rules, but explosive chaos. Easy to learn, impossible to master unless your name is Aragorn and you've got time to kill. Plastic zombie overload though, so many miniatures you'll start dreaming of them or having flashbacks, maybe both. Multiple game versions for all vibes though. Prefer a modern zombie hellscape? Try Rue Morgue. Fancy a prison riot with biters? Prison Outbreak. There's even a mobile version so you can be traumatized on public transport. So who's it for? Well, perfect for adrenaline junkies, board game speed demons, and people who scream, "Cover me!" in real life during Monopoly. If you want a co-op game that's as dramatic as a soap opera and twice as bloody, this one is your beautiful chaotic mess. The next one is my recommendation for the best for people who consider backstabbing friends part of healthy Norse bonding. This is Blood Rage. So this is what happens when you mix Norse mythology, aggressive real estate acquisition, and a healthy appetite for death. It's like Risk, got drunk, watched Vikings on Netflix, and decided to get shredded. But unlike most conquest games where you hoard land like a paranoid landlord, Blood Rage lets you win in other beautifully violent ways, like heroically getting your ass kicked on purpose. Key features: multiple victory paths. You can conquer lands, sacrifice your army like a pagan performance piece, or complete quests that make the gods nod in approval, sort of like divine Tinder matches. Norse mythology theme, of course: Odin, Thor, Loki. The gang's all here, judging your tactics and occasionally rewarding your incompetence. Epic miniatures, including monsters. The board is filled with angry Vikings and mythical beasts, the size of your nan's Yorkshire pudding. It's glorious. Glory through death as well. Unlike real life, dying in battle actually benefits you. Lose a fight? That's not failure, that's strategy, mate. And strategic drafting and combat. Every decision counts. Do you betray an ally, rage quit Valhalla, or just unleash a sea serpent and call it a day? Deep replayability as well. Every game unfolds differently depending on your playstyle and how much you hate the person to your left. So who's it for? Well, this one's for the intellectual warmongers who want their strategy dense, their battles brutal, and their victories weirdly poetic. If you've ever thought, what if I could outwit a friend and die gloriously at the same time, then this is your beautifully berserk battlefield. The next one is my recommendation for the best for control freaks who want to terraform a fantasy world just to feel anything again. It's Terra Mystica. So this is the kind of game that makes you feel like a god with a mortgage. Civilization building at its finest, where instead of chucking spears or nukes, you delicately expand your mushroom kingdom while managing worker allocation like a medieval middle manager on Adderall. Yes, the player boards look like IKEA instructions for summoning Cthulhu. But once you get past that, mate, it's a bloody masterpiece. Key features: Civ building with brains. No dice, no luck, just cold hard resource management and strategic land grabbing. Like Monopoly, if Monopoly involved wizards and existential dread. Personal and shared boards. You're building up your own economy while jostling for land on a shared map, like trying to grow a business while everyone else is parking their metaphorical taco truck outside your shop. Magical terraforming, of course. Each faction can only build on specific terrain types, so to expand, you literally reshape the land. Power trip much? And 14 unique factions, each with their own abilities, like the culty weirdos who worship dirt, or the mermaids who have serious riverfront ambitions. In direct competition, you don't battle opponents, you just passive-aggressively ruin their plans. It's the board game equivalent of sending a "just so you know" email. Satisfying economic engine though. Gold, workers, priests, and power tokens all flow together in a glorious symphony of "please let this upgrade happen before Karen builds another fortress." So who's it for? Well, ideal for the thinkers, planners, and anyone who's ever looked at a spreadsheet and thought, this would be better with elves. If you want a deep strategic game where you win not by fighting, but by being just a little bit smarter and slightly more petty, then this will scratch that itch like a wizard with eczema. Alright, so those are my recommendations. Hopefully there's something on that list for you, but if you have any questions, drop them down below, and if you found value in this video, drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.